Good morning. How we doing? I hope you're good. So today we're going to talk about building self-belief. Something I think we all need to do more of. All right. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Bourman. And if you are coming through, please do hit the love heart button. It just allows me to know who's watching and who's not. And then please comment the biggest thing that you struggle with self-belief, or why do you struggle with self-belief? Let me know in the comments. And then please share with someone that you think that might need this right now. All right. So hope you had a good weekend. Ours was action-packed. Definitely feeling it from start of my running again for my 50 miler. But I feel really, really good. Really clear. Good thing with running is it clears your head mentally, right? To be able to think a lot clearer. So I want to talk about self-belief because I think it's a key factor to a lot of men's mental state, their mindset and approach to themselves. And I think that if we can just highlight it a little bit, we can go away during the day and reflect on this show. All right, so I was watching the Manchester derby yesterday. Big football. I'm a football fan. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm chuffed to bits in a minute. But I was watching United and City, and one of the big things that stood out for me, and one of the key indicators, and I'm not one of those wannabe managers, by the way, but just what it looked like to me was that Manchester United lacked an awful lot of self-belief about being on that pitch. And I think that self-belief, or that lack of self-belief, or that lack of self-esteem affected their performance, which is why they got teetotaled, right? They got smashed to pieces. Absolutely and utterly destroyed. So it was interesting to see how possibly a lack of self-belief affected performance. Okay, a lack of self-belief affects performance. Now, when I look at men's lives, when I look at how they're performing, I often look at the key indicators, and one of those things usually is a lack of self-belief. Because when we don't believe in ourselves, what tends to happen is that we only show up at 50% of our potential, because we don't believe that we can achieve or succeed through the other 50% to get to 100%, right? So where does that come from? I mean, it could come from a number of things. I couldn't tell you specifically. It could come from a childhood of never being told that actually you're good at something. But one of the things that we believe in as parents, is instilling self-esteem early. Like, even if they do something that's so simple, like we jump on it. We're like, man, absolutely amazing job. That's just who we are. That's just what we believe in as parents, right? So we're building that self-esteem from early on. And that's what we do. That's what I do with my big two all of the time. Sometimes they fall into that 15, 17-year-old kind of pit of despair, and they don't believe in themselves. And that's where Dad comes and go, look at what you've achieved. Look at what you're doing. So one of the things that we have to look at in our own lives is who's doing that for us now. And one of the things that I would suggest when building yourself up to wanting more self-belief or initiating more self-belief is find somebody that does that for you, i.e. a mentor, a coach, a wife, friends. Do you know what I mean? So when you're around those individuals, those people that turn around and say, I believe in you, you're doing a great job, what that does is starts to change the pattern inside of our brain. And that's what we do with the kids. Even Darcy, who's 1 and a bit years old, will turn around and go, man, absolutely amazing job, even if she puts the toothbrush back in the sink. And I think that's where, for a lot of people, that self-belief has been the struggle, right? And then we go through life, and then there's other people that tell us that, like, we're not good enough, and then we start comparing ourselves to other people. We start comparing ourselves to people on the internet. We start comparing ourselves to people in the playground. We start comparing ourselves to people at the office, in your business. And and then it just manifests in your brain. So it becomes like a virtual reality set, right? So when you put on that virtual reality goggles, what you do is compare yourself to all of these other people, everything else that's going on, and you actually believe that that is true. You that's the belief that you have. One of the things that I've always struggled with is believing that I'm good enough for my wife. Okay, so like constantly thinking, oh, she should be with someone better. Where does that even come from? Like, where does that even come from? It comes from my own virtual reality goggles believing that I'm not good enough. Okay, so I think it's important that we surround ourselves with people, right? Not everybody has somebody. I can see somebody saying there they've got nobody, but that's where we go and find someone, right? That's where I look at our elite brotherhood community. So if you look at our community of men, there must be nearly 200 men in this community now where we coach everybody. And a lot of some of those guys, they don't necessarily have wives or kids, but what they do have is everybody else that's in that group. So when they open up, suddenly all these other people build up their self-esteem. So we're not only finding a mentor or somebody that's going to help them build themselves up. We're now in an environment or a community where everybody is the same, on the same journey, on the same path, with the same purpose. And then suddenly you start getting picked up by those people and start believing yourself a little bit more. You start reading inspirational stories or listening to them. So I think it's really important to recognize those two things. I think the people around us create the belief in ourselves. When I look at the people around me, I look around and think about those people that encourage me, that clap when I'm winning, that tell me that I'm doing a good job, or tell me that it looks like things are going really well. And what that does is initiates that trigger in here that says, oh, maybe you are doing well. Maybe it's okay to start believing in yourself. I think one of the things that people struggle with is to turn around and go, yeah, I believe in myself. Yeah, I believe I'm a good dad. I believe that I'm a great husband. I believe that, like, I'm showing up for other people. I believe I'm good at my job. That initial self-belief. And I think the confliction then goes, am I being big-headed here? Am I being arrogant here? And it's almost that there is this brick wall in front of us. And this brick wall becomes that communication barrier to yourself. And then all of a sudden we kind of just don't ever say, oh, I feel good. I don't ever believe in myself. And when we don't say I don't believe in myself, when internally you don't say it, you just don't go down that route. When you start saying, yeah, I believe in myself. Yeah, I'm this, and I'm this, and that, I'm this, I'm this, and that. We start building up that inner confidence in ourselves because we keep telling ourselves that, right? You become what you say you are. You become what you focus on. So if you fall into a pity party or you feel sorry for yourself, then that's the way that your mind will lead because it's following that flame. If you turn around and say, man, I believe in myself, I'm really good at my job, I'm really good at doing this, then we start following that flame. Okay? And it's a difficult process. There's no way I can do a video like this and everyone turn around and go, yeah, I feel like I believe in myself. It takes time, and through a process you build up that internal confidence, that internal self-belief. Like I look at our programs, I look at our Elite 28, I look at our Elite 90, I look at our Elite Brotherhood, the Elite Squad, and everyone's going through a journey. Everyone's the clogs are starting to tick, the rewiring starting to happen. We're starting to say it's okay to believe in ourselves, and we're breaking down that wall, okay? But I think ultimately, the hardest part of all of this is for you to look in the mirror and go, I believe in myself. Like I believe in every guy that I come across. I believe that every guy I come across has the potential to change the way that he lives his life, have a better relationship, have a body that they're more proud of, have a career that they love, have a life that they love. I don't believe that nobody out there should not believing in themselves. Everybody should be believing in themselves and what you got. Okay, and that's the empowerment of what a guy can have, and that is what changes lives for yourself in here, internally, in the head. And that's where we go from here, right? And that's how we move forwards from here. So every single day you wake up And I don't mean like actually do these, like just walk down here and go, my God, like have a bit of self-belief, have a bit of self-esteem. It's like a momentum thing. We start building up the barriers. It's not about how you, like I always say to my son, right? It's not necessarily about what's happening right now, but it's what you can create in a few years from now. So like he's learning how to play golf, right? We went to the golf range yesterday. Man, he hit maybe 20 good balls out of 50. The time we went before, he probably hit 40 bad shots out of 50. But I always say to him, we're going to come here twice a week minimum. And we're going to keep coming here for twice a week for the next 2 years. And you're going to start believing that you're a better player than you are. You're going to start believing that you can strike the ball better than you are. And every time we go back to a lesson, I want you to build up self-belief. And in 2 years, I'll be interested to see where the boy is. And it's about that inner belief in anything that you do. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens in a week. Nothing happens in a month. It just happens through the process. And you suddenly wake up one day and go, man, I feel slightly different. You can't start working out, right? You don't go to the gym and suddenly look buff. You go to the gym for a year and you go, wow, my body started to change. Or you start to meet a girl and go out on dates. You don't just suddenly fall in love right there and then. It just happens from a multitude of dates. And so will self-belief if you keep telling yourself you're good enough. If you keep looking at that reflection in the mirror. That's me, amigos. Have an amazing week. Believe in yourself.